2022 is here. It's time to look back at the previous year and rank my top 25 roller coasters. Here we go. Number 25 is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure. This coaster has 7 launches, a drop track, and some of the best theming you will ever see on any theme park attraction. From the moment you step into the queue, you are fully immersed into the dark forest. It might not be as extreme as most of the coasters on this list, but it's still a great one. Number 24 is MAGNUM XL200 at Cedar Point. This is the first of many Cedar Point coasters on this list. It might not be the smoothest or the prettiest, but MAGNUM's airtime is elite. It's definitely not a perfect ride, and until the finale, the ride does stay pretty tame. But for a coaster opened in 1989, it runs very well. Number 23 is Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure, my home park. For better or worse, Nitro is not consistent with the ride it gives. Sometimes you feel it's 80 miles per hour, and sometimes it feels like the runaway mine train. All that aside, its floater air, solid drop, and intense helix put Nitro in this spot. If you want intensity, look no further than number 22, Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Get on this thing in the back row and feel the forces it gives off during the inversions. The layout isn't perfect, and this might be the biggest victim of the B&M rattle, but that doesn't take away from its key strength, intensity. Number 21 is Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia. I was a little disappointed by this ride, but Goliath is still very solid. The layout takes a trip through and around the park's property, giving you good airtime and a very smooth and re-rideable experience. Definitely one of the most unique B&M hypers. Speaking of B&M hypers, number 20 is Candemonium at Hershey Park. This coaster is just a bunch of fun. It's glossy smooth and has B&M's signature floater airtime. Soaring through the new Hershey Park entrance plaza at that speed feels fantastic and makes you just want to jump right back in line. Candemonium is a perfect fit. Number 19 is Jersey Devil Coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. I was not impressed with my first set of rides on Jersey Devil. The ride was sluggish and not much airtime was given. As time went on, and after a few tweaks, this thing hauls through its layout. A key highlight for me has been the 0G roll and stall. Smashing into number 18 is the Incredible Hulk Coaster at Islands of Adventure. Hulk starts off with great speed from its launch and never loses it. From beginning to end, this ride tries to rip your face off. All the inversions ride intense, which makes this very comparable to Kumba, but I prefer Hulk a little bit for a smoother ride. Number 17 is Montu at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This is the premier B&M inverted coaster, and the gap between this and my next favorite is huge. Montu is very forceful, but not to the point where the ride isn't enjoyable. Out of the 7 inversions, the Batwing is my personal favorite. For a B&M invert, this ride is awesome. It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Six Flags New England's Superman the Ride, coming in at number 16. If you gave this ride better restraints, it could rank significantly higher. The layout provides so many opportunities for fantastic airtime, which the restraint partly prevents. Looking past that, Superman the Ride has great layout diversity and a scenic view of the Connecticut River. You can hear the music. Number 15 is Millennium Force at Cedar Point. Say what you want about it, but Millennium Force is intense and, well, is forceful. This is one of those rides that made me gray out every single time. It's not perfect in any way, but you can for sure call this thing exhilarating, the way it carries its speed throughout the ride. Number 14 is Phoenix at Knoebels. The airtime on this ride is insane. You get flung out of your seat on every hill. That's all this ride focuses on, and is lackluster in other categories. But that's okay. This is still a world-class coaster, and a must-ride for any enthusiast. Number 13 is another airtime-filled wooden coaster, Boulder Dash at Lake Compounce. This ride works with terrain and provides one of the most unique experiences ever. The laterals and ejector airtime are both pretty solid, but it does lose a few points in the smoothness category. If you don't like this coaster, well, that's just a bunch of Boulder Dash. Twisted Colossus races its way into number 12. This was never meant to be a crazy intensity machine. This ride is just pure fun. The Mobius loop adds so much charm and character, along with its good inversions and airtime. Getting to experience the layout twice is just icing on the cake. RMC did a great job with Twisted Colossus. And following that is another RMC conversion. Twisted Cyclone is at number 11. For its size, this coaster packs a huge punch. The wave turn is one of the strongest moments of ejector airtime I've ever experienced. While it may be short, there is not one dull moment on this ride. You can't judge it by its stats. Now presenting the top 10. Here it is, the best B&M Hyper, Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. This has some of the best and most airtime I've ever had on a coaster. From the larger camelbacks to the smaller hills, everything gives air. The ride keeps its speed for the most part throughout the course and gives you one of the most unique B&M Hyper finales, taking a few turns around the midway. What a surprise! B&M knocked it out of the park again. Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. Yeah, wicked is a great word for this one. Take the airtime from Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags New England. Add more, make it bigger, and you have this coaster. I don't recall one element not providing what it was supposed to. I haven't even mentioned the crazy drop. Ride in the back row, you will feel it. The ride cycle is pretty long for an RMC, and the inversions throughout are a nice touch. This coaster is wicked good. X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This ride is so many things. It's one of the most crazy coasters ever built. X2's drop is 215 feet. You travel 76 miles per hour, and through this, you are flipping 360 degrees, upside down, right side up. It doesn't matter. Metallica, fire effects, aerodynamics, like, what in the world is this? If you haven't already, you need to ride X2. Good old Sky Rush at Hershey Park. Are the restraints bothersome? Yeah, a little. But it doesn't really take away from the ride. Sky Rush just doesn't let up, even before the drop. The cable lift kicks this thing off with a bang. And then you go through one of the best drops ever, experience some of the best ejector airtime on the planet, and crazy turns that really feed to adrenaline junkies. You will not forget Sky Rush after you ride it. That is for sure. The new for 2021 Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure. Velocicoaster is a beautiful combination of everything you would want a coaster. Airtime all over, 2 launches, a top hat, and in my opinion, some of the best inversions ever. The Heartline roll to close out the ride is up there as one of my favorite coaster elements. You can pair this with stellar Jurassic World theming. So, why isn't this number 1 then? I personally just prefer a little more intensity and standout airtime. And number 5, Maverick at Cedar Point is exactly that. The drop and first hill are up there as 2 of my favorite airtime moments ever. I can't describe the feeling of that drop. You are thrown out of your seat. Go through snappy, intense turns, and then you're greeted by another moment of airtime where you are again thrown out of your seat. There are also 2 launches and a few inversions, but I prefer Velocicoasters. The intensity and airtime make Maverick amazing. I've ridden El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure more than any other coaster on Earth, and I can safely say that I've never had a bad ride. Featuring a world-class drop, giant-sized airtime, and of course, the rolling Thunderhill, one of the strongest moments of airtime I've experienced. There just isn't a bad part of El Toro. That being said, as the ride goes on, it does start to lose some speed and pacing, but that can for sure be forgiven when you look at what came before it. Ole! Gentlemen, start your engines. Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion is the most intense coaster I've ever ridden. Just the first drop and first turn is enough to solidify that statement. I-305 is a wild ride, and true to its theme, it really feels like you're in a NASCAR race. Going through its elements is it's ridiculous. You go from 305 feet up to doing all these rapid fire turns at almost ground level. The speed is never given up for 1 second of this coaster. Fury 325 at Carowinds. Wow, what a ride. Fury has everything you would want from a coaster its kind, is glossy smooth, and is one of the most unique layouts I've ever seen. There's over 6,000 feet of track, and once you leave that chain lift, there really isn't any time where the ride gets boring. I mean, this thing goes 95 miles per hour. It's a fast ride. Fury 325 is the standout Giga coaster, but it's not quite my number one. The tallest, fastest, wildest, Pirates Hideaway. No, it's Steel Vengeance. Cedar Point and RMC made a masterpiece. There's so much to say about this ride. Everything is packed in. Airtime, pacing, great inversions, good theming. Oh wait, no, not that. Steel Vengeance has almost 30 seconds of airtime. 30! That's the amount of time it takes from launch to brakes on King to Ka. You sometimes even forget Steel Vengeance also has 4 great inversions. It is relentless from start to finish and never really gives up, even with the mid-course brake run. Steel Vengeance doesn't do everything the best and perfect, but if you put a bunch of really good things together, you'll get something great. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more videos coming soon.